Yeah, I was gonna say, Brett,
Yeah.
you now have to do your entire segment with a giant like Cheshire cat style smile on your face. Keep it up. You can't. Your face cannot change the entire.
That's going to be difficult. Oh my gosh.
I
Um,
believe in you.
It would hurt your
well,
jaw to talk
Yeah,
like
I got
I
a
was
text
going to
from Sam
say, my
actually.
goodness.
Sam actually just said that you can buy the TV. So that's a smile on your
There
face.
you go. That's the smile you get when I hear that.
I can hear your son sharpening a knife in the background.
That's exactly what I hear too, actually. It's funny.
Exactly. All right, so you've been shooting a lot. You know, you shoot professionally, you shoot for us, and I'm really curious because I'm taking a year off of Instagram right now. Paul took a year off before. What
Still
made you
off,
really
man.
want to? You're still off?
I'm still off. It's
Oh,
a
I
year and a
wouldn't
half now.
know. I wouldn't
That's
know.
awesome.
Yeah.
So what prompted this segment from you, man?
So this is something I've been struggling with myself for the last few months. And in fact, if you go back and look at our shows over the last few weeks, I've been talking about issues that can maybe cause stress and anxiety in photographers. We talked about you don't always have to shoot RAW. It's okay to shoot JPEG, right? We talked about you don't always have to shoot manual mode. It's okay to use semi-auto modes like aperture priority, shutter priority. And then tonight I want to talk about going out and shooting without expectation and taking that pressure off of yourself so that you can go out and enjoy what you do. Because I feel like we've come into this digital age where everyone just goes out and takes pictures for Instagram to share on social media. And what comes with that is this added pressure and anxiety to produce images of a certain quality to share. And then that ends up putting pressure on us as photographers as well. And I was actually going to go into that with Paul and yourself for taking time off of Instagram, because I wanted to see if that's kind of how you felt and why you got away from Instagram as well.
Paul, you want to go first?
Partly.
Yeah, that's certainly one of the reasons why I decided to take that break. And, I have to credit this to our friend, Jens. He had done it for, I think, a year as well. And that was kind of the, I guess, inspiration for me to give it a go. The problem with Instagram is that there's for such a for a platform with so many creatives in the visual space, it's just so much of the same. Like I don't know about you guys, but it got to the point where I didn't feel inspired by what I saw on Instagram. It's just everyone shooting the same things over and over to try to, like, oh, I'm going to shoot this because I know that people on the Instagram platform are going to like it. So everyone just shoots the same way. The problem is you develop this monoculture that it's like we got into photography because we are creatives. So why are we now essentially just shooting to a spec sheet? Like, I get it for what we do for like client work. Sure, you have a brief and you shoot to that brief and you deliver those, but that's because that's your job for that particular client. If you're just shooting for Instagram, like, why are you not creating? You're just trying to, like, oh, I'm just gonna do it for double taps.
And that's exactly what I was going to talk about, is that we shoot professionally. We started off as hobbyists and amateurs, and somewhere along that journey, like you were saying, you have clients who have expectations. You have expectations of yourself. You work together to make sure those expectations are reached. And somewhere along the line, hobbyist side of me and the professional side of me kind of merged, and then I ended up not being able to go out and shoot for myself for fun without having stupid expectations of
That's
being
why I
able to
shoot
go
film.
out of being able to go out and create the perfect shot. And
yeah, it's like this whole banger culture. Like, every shot's got to be like, like, we got to go out and shoot the dope shots. It's got to be fire. Like,
exactly.
Just go out and shoot, man. Like,
yeah, exactly. And it's a toxic culture that has come from this.
Yeah, it's just this, I guess, this over, like, emphasize expectation of like, oh, we must have 100% success rate. I'm like, no, like, because like some of my favorite images were accidents.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how you grow and that's how you
Yep.
develop your eye as a photographer. It's you go in seeing the world a certain way, and until you're presented with something different, that's the only field of view that you have, right? But then these, quote unquote happy accidents happen, and then you realize, oh wait, let me change up the way I've been viewing things this whole time. And that's how you develop a new style, or that's how you, like, artists go into periods all the time.
Yeah, I was about to say, Instagram
Yeah.
doesn't really allow you to
No.
sit there and process your own creativity. They want you to just
It's
keep feeding their
also
algorithm.
yeah, that, and also there's an inherent negativity to it, because when you're just creating for yourself, when you're just shooting for yourself, and you're just purely enjoying the act of creation, that's all that matters. You created, you felt good about when the results you got, good or quote unquote good or bad, and that's it. You've created, and it fed your drive to create. With Instagram, there's inherently this need to be seen, this need to be accepted. Oh, I'm not getting enough engagement. There aren't enough likes or comments on my page or on my photo. Well, does that matter? It
Well,
shouldn't.
also, a lot of people are very selfish. Like, I'm listening to this, and it seems like it's everyone that's really just all about themselves, when Instagram is also supposed to be like a community where there's a back and forth,
Well, yeah, but the problem is Instagram has never really been a community, because the only thing you do is you scroll, tap, scroll, tap, scroll, tap, scroll.
Yeah, and also
That's it.
Instagram
It's
pods are
not,
really terrible. I mean,
well,
APA's was.
it's not like a true community like what Flickr used to be, where
Mm-hmm.
people actually, like, I know people that have built friendships from Flickr, because you're like-minded people, you find new perspectives, and then you discuss these perspectives. You talk about the craft of photography itself, and then that's how you build bonds. Instagram, not really. It's just everyone's trying to get out front. Everyone's trying to get the most engagement as possible, to get the most amount of followers possible. I'm like, does that help in some respects? Yeah, like, when you're trying to book work, sometimes, like, uh, agencies would be like, oh, this photographer doesn't have a big reach, but they're starting to realize that this engagement and reach doesn't always translate to success, because, like, you could have people that either bought followers and engagements, or they've just, for whatever reason, they've built up a following, but their work stinks.
So I agree with you on that. So I have my own personal Instagram that I'm taking a break from right now, and then I have the Phoblographer's Instagram that I log into maybe like once or twice a day, but Dan mostly manages it. So I did a couple things. So first off, on my personal one, I never really cared for likes and for comments and stuff like that. Like, after a while, it felt kind of stalkerish, excuse me, and I made my profile private. So if you really wanted to pay attention to it, you would have to be a friend of mine, and then I would notice that, like, a lot of people would just check out what was on my page, and then they would just leave. They didn't really care after that. So what I ended up doing was I tried a couple different things, because I wanted to make my experience there overall better. I was following over 5,000 accounts, and I purposely cut them all down to under 100. And Instagram became significantly less toxic, because I'm not sitting there endlessly scrolling through things, double tapping on things. I really just came to a point where it was just like, oh yeah, you're at the end of your feed, or oh, you're at the end of your stories. You don't really have any more. Well, try to go ahead and follow more. So then I'd go to explore, and it would tie in with Facebook, and it would listen to me, and it would be like, oh, here are watches, here are vintage cameras, here are things that are yoga related. Here's tea. Here's dogs. Here's really cute dogs running around. And I'm like, this is really invasive. I don't really care anymore. I'm going to take a break. So instead, what I ended up doing was I think that Instagram right now, it's really about feeding a culture of verification and saying that, like, I'm great. That's all that it is. But if you don't care anymore and you just actually create for yourself, you can have your images live on a different platform like Behance or like some other one. It's really actually my favorite platform for creatives, Behance. We used to feature a lot of photographers from there for a while, but because Google changed their search algorithms and all that, we're valuing gear right now. But Flipboard and other things are really valuing our art stuff, so we might come back to it eventually. Um, and then for Phoblographer's Instagram, like what really does well for us, Dan was saying that it's video more than the images, but in addition to that too, usually the stuff that we do when gear is getting like wet or it's going through abuse or something like that, because that's stuff that no one else is producing. So that stuff gets likes and comments and all that stuff. But, they're so hungry for you to constantly feed their platform, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense for the return most of the time. That's just really how I feel. Like, honestly, like, I could go for a really long time without Instagram. I don't really care about it. I'm okay with Facebook, but even Facebook, I have a couple problems with. Um, Overall, I probably would have cut my social media attention and like overall presence down drastically. It's just my previous job at B&H Photo, social media content developer. Phoblographer was partially growing due to social media, but now it doesn't really grow due to social media. It grows to, Google and Flipboard. And then sometimes it's like other random things like social news aggregators like Reddit or Dig or something like that. Yeah, that's it. But I mean, also, I don't really spend as much time on my phone now, going through all these apps and going uh, to go check and scroll endlessly through Instagram and giving them information about me just by tapping on things. Instead, I actually just like sometimes go play computer games or go out for a walk or something like that and take photos, or maybe come back to my computer and browse Reddit or read the news or something like that. I do other things. Like, I don't think that Instagram has to dominate who we are as photographers, because who we are as photographers is really important. There are people that will be like, do you have an Instagram? And it's like, no, I don't really care for it anymore, but you can check out all this work. Or, I don't really care about it. Yeah. I'm burned out talking about that, partially because of the fact that it's like, it's exhausting, and it's sort of depressing. And I feel like we're training a new generation of photographers to just care about Instagram when it's not everything.
That's precisely the problem, I think, because we've now what we're essentially dealing with is this reassessment of value, where when you're creating art in in its purest form, art serves no other purpose than to exist on its own, right, and to engage with its audience. But with Instagram, you're now intrinsically like trained into creating things that you know are designed to be liked by others. And I think like culturally we're at the point where a lot of people are just doing things. It's not unique to Instagram. You've got things like TikTok also. It's just like, oh, I'm just gonna do things that will get people to pay attention to me. Like it's like me. Like, no, like I actually don't want that much attention on me. Like, I get enough as is.
Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
I mean, that was the thing too that I learned pretty
This could be,
quickly.
this could be a unique problem because like we're somewhat in the public eye. Like our name is out there online, and but yeah, I think we really need to educate the next generation of photographers to not put their worth into people that will never have meaningful interactions with you in the first place. Like, okay, you got double taps from people. Like, are these people going to hire you for work, or are these people that want to like actually purchase a print, or or even if you're just an hobbyist, like, why does it matter what some stranger that you've never met and likely never will meet, like, what does it matter what their opinion on your photo is? You know, like, satisfy your own creative need first, and worry about all the other stuff afterwards. And
Exactly.
yes, your light just died.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
light just died. I was about to say.
No, I mean, I was just going to say, at the very top of the show, Chris was talking about the rabbit hole that you can go down to with this. And 8 to 12 months ago, I went down that rabbit hole deep. I mean, it's taken me a long time to dig myself out.
Oh, I
And
was right. I thought so.
What?
Continue. Sorry.
No. Yeah, I went deep down that Instagram hole, and it took me a long time to dig myself out. And so, really, the whole point of this is to tell you that just get out and shoot for yourself. Go have fun with it. Don't put pressure on yourself. Don't give yourself anxiety over going out to create the perfect shot. Just pick up your camera and go and have fun. That was pretty much it.
But also have realistic goals. Like, if you want to, I was about to say if you want to get better, but like, you should have an idea of what better is to you. And I think everyone has a different idea. Like, Paul is mostly a portrait shooter, but he's getting into wanting to sell prints of his landscapes. Brett is, you mostly do commercial event stuff, but that's sort of dried up right now because of COVID, right?
Yep. And then just for fun, it's landscapes and nature and wildlife.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, I mean, it's funny that you even mentioned that, because I guess, like, portraiture is what I get hired for the most. Like, I'll shoot for, like, I'll shoot beauty work or just portraits or headshots. And then people started realizing, and I never actually shared my landscapes on my Instagram, but these are people that either see my work on my personal Facebook, or those get shared through the site or whatever. And then people are starting to reach out to me, like, oh wow, I didn't realize that you shot this. I'm like, well, just because I don't talk about it doesn't mean I don't shoot all this other stuff.
Yeah,
But,
totally.
but that's another thing too. It's like, if you only ever try to feed Instagram, you're actually limiting your your creative possibilities, and also potential, like, source of revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really interesting because, like, for me, like, I have to shoot everything as well too. I mean, same way that you guys do. For me, gig wise, it's probably mostly like events and photojournalistic stuff. But what I mostly enjoy doing is my conceptual work, because it's so much different than what everyone else does.
Because you're actually creating for yourself.
Yeah, you're right. But also sometimes, like this one camera that we have coming up, you'll see, and I don't want to spoil it. I did a couple of images where things are very blurry, purposely, because I like that, like, painterly effect. And I've done that with other cameras before, and some people are all about it. Some people are just like, why would you put this image in the review? I don't understand. And I'm like, dude, it's intentional. Like, this is our review. Like, we edit some of the images. We don't edit some of the images. We try to be as creative with it as we possibly can. We try to put ourselves into it. That's the point of a blog. You come to a blog for personality.
Yeah, I just wrote a review where I think 98% of the images were all straight out of camera JPEGs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Same here.
Yeah, it's like, don't limit yourself just because that's what, like, oh, I have to do it for the platform. Think. It's gonna sound cliche, but think outside of the box.
Think outside of the gram.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's more important. Like,
yeah,
photography isn't all this. It may seem like that at times, but I don't know of a single photographer that has so far had, like, a very long-running career just by doing stuff off of Instagram. Like, people have gotten famous off of Instagram, but they're not really photographers. They're known for their social media influence. Like, that's really about it. Like, for example, I remember forgot what brand it was. But like there were a bunch of competing photographers to shoot like a runway thing, and the brand decided to go with Brooklyn Beckham because of his following, and that's really about it. And in that case, I feel like you're hiring a social media influencer and not a photographer.
You're hiring a celebrity.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and that's not to say that you can't be both.
No, there are some celebrities that shoot phenomenal work.
Yeah, absolutely. But
But there are also some that don't know how they don't know a shutter from the battery cover. Like,
yeah, yeah, exactly. But this is depressing me. I'm on this one thing to like completely keep Instagram out of my life, and now it's like, oh, it came back, and yeah, this is why I got off. Like,
It's like you just reaffirmed why you done what you done. So
yeah,
you've made the right choice.
it's crazy too, because I went on the Phoblographer's Instagram and I was looking at everyone that we follow, and I'm like, why are we following all of these people? So I started deleting it all, and I think we're at under 1,000 right now, purposely, because I wanted our feed to be like very curated. Let me see. Yeah, we're purposely following under 1,000 right now. We have 33,000.7 followers, and like we've hovered around that number for a really long time. And Dan and I have actually like full on had like full strategy meetings about like what we could do. And the purpose of our Instagram is to use the stories to bring clicks back to the website. But each month, like sometimes they'll grow, but they're not significant anywhere near like Facebook or Flipboard or like other referrals and stuff like that. I don't know how much you guys have deep dived into our analytics for that stuff, but like Instagram is negligible. Like I was sitting there thinking to myself, like we could get rid of our Instagram and it would not have a major impact on our traffic at all.
yeah, I think like most people in our position, it's negligible. Um, where you actually see like huge numbers or accounts that aren't actually providing anything of like value. They they're like feature accounts that just share work, but they're building a following off of other people's work, and then once they get to a certain size, none of the people that have gotten the work featured have gotten any real benefit out of it, other than I've gotten exposure. But if you do the actual numbers, like what is that like exposure actually done for you? Like it's another part of the problem with Instagram.
I mean, you might be able to buy a television with exposure if you try really hard. I don't know. Like, I don't know how that currency works out. Like, one
I don't know,
exposure.
man. I mean, I'll tell you one thing. I've never been able to pay for a meal with exposure bucks.
That's a great one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Final thoughts, Brett? I mean, I'm sorry. I felt like me and Paul were probably dominating
No,
this.
no, it's all good. Final thoughts. Pick up your camera, go shoot for you, have fun. Don't stress about it. Just go do your thing.
Maybe also, I mean, maybe that's something that I was doing for a while. Personally, I had to fully separate it. Like, personally is film, and then work is digital. But now I've gotten back to a point where I can actually like shoot personally again digitally. And some of my film stuff is actually for work. But yeah, sometimes also like I'll be like you, Brett, and I'll actually bring like 3 cameras with me. Like I'll bring Instax, and I'll bring one digital, and I'll bring like one film.
My
And
back's still hurting from the other day doing that.
Yeah, I know. I did that the other day too with a couple of Rokinon lenses, and I'm just like, oh, why?
I don't know. I think one thing I will say is, being that I'm known, I guess, most known for my portraiture work. Like experiment with like-minded people, right? Like I work with a lot of models, and they're not always for a job. Sometimes we just want to create something awesome. Find other people that have like-minded interests as you. Work with for example, I'll go out and shoot landscapes with other people that enjoy shooting landscapes. To me, that's kind of like like that's like my fishing. Some people go out to fish just to hang out and just to relax and decompress, right? That's kind of like what shoot on landscape is for me. Or sometimes I'll work with other models and other makeup artists, and we'll just shoot something creative and out of the box. And sometimes that we learn new techniques doing that. So just like don't be afraid to try new things, and meet like-minded people that are down to do the same thing as you. Hopefully you guys will all grow together.
Yep. All right, guys. Then I guess we're done. Brett, no anything else to say?
No, I'm good.
All right. Thank you all for tuning in. We really appreciate you guys. Thank you on Facebook and thank you on Zoom here. If you're on the Zoom stream, I'm going to keep this going. I'm going to kill the Facebook feed and I'm also going to kill our recording. Thank you guys so much. Have a good night.
Thanks, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
All right. Killing the Facebook feed and killing the recording.